Hi, I'm Dr. Chad Larson. This is the third in a series that I'm doing on grit. This particular episode is the grit to master fear. The first one is about the grit to persevere. The second one was on the grit to control your thoughts. And this one's on mastering fear. And according to the experts, you really want to do these things in order. You don't want to jump straight to working on fear without having the grit to control your thoughts and the grit for perseverance. So there's sort of an order that you're supposed to do to these things. And this one's all about fear, and I'll explain why fear can be such a powerful ally. But basically, what is fear? Fear is directed by the amygdala, which is in the limbic part of the brain. And it really helps us to know when we're approaching the intersection between a challenge and your degree of skill level to meet that challenge. An example might be if I'm going surfing and I'm paddling out, and there's a 10-foot wave, which in Southern California, we're not really used to 10-foot waves. So my fear factor would be pretty high. My amygdala would be on high alert that my skill level is not quite meeting that particular challenge. But it's relative to the individual, because you take somebody like Laird Hamilton, a 10-foot wave is a routine wave for him. So that would be no problem. His amygdala would probably be relaxing, no big deal, because he has developed a skill to meet that particular challenge. So it's very individual. A challenge, something that is triggering your amygdala, and a fear response might be leaving the house for some people. So it's very relative to the individual. So this challenge skills balance is very individual, but there's a way to use this challenge skills balance to our advantage. A lot of this information comes from a researcher named Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. And he unfortunately passed away fairly recently, but he's written a ton on this topic, and it's a way to really tap into your ability to focus. And focus is really important when we're trying to achieve something hard. Maybe we're trying to achieve a new skill or learn a new language, or we have New Year's coming up. You might be listening to this at another part of the year, but as of this recording, New Year's is right around the corner. A lot of times people come up with New Year's resolutions, and sometimes they want to do something that might be kind of hard, like they want to start working out, or they want to start, learn a new language, or learn how to play a musical instrument, or they want to, improve something about their lifestyle. And these things take focus. What is focus? Focus is one of these things that we can really use to our advantage when we're trying to do something difficult. But here's the thing. Your brain is a maniacal accountant of energy relative to the amount of calories and nutrients you consume, and the degree to which you typically burn those nutrients. Your brain is keeping track of all that stuff. So if you're asking your brain to do something different, something new, something that's going to require more energy, your brain's going to fight it a little bit. And there's this homeostatic set point that your brain is always trying to maintain. And if you're like, no, I want to actually do something different, something new, you have to convince your brain that when you go to do that thing, you're actually going to have the energy and the focus and the mindset to do it. And so this is where fear can really come in, because as Stephen Kotler says, fear gives you focus for free. And so how's that? Well, because think about the last time you were scared doing something, you were something that was really engaging kind of the fear response. You weren't really thinking about anything else at that time. Because focus, when we're trying to do something hard, focus helps us to really pay attention to what we are trying to learn and to ignore other things. So it's kind of like two sides of that coin. Focus on what you really want to, and what are you ignoring? And that can be difficult, and that takes like brain power to continually try to ignore whatever, your finances or your work life or your home life or something else in your life. To try to turn that off takes energy for your brain to ignore those things. So this is where fear gives you focus for free, because again, let's go to my analogy of paddling out surfing and there's a big wave coming. I'm thinking about how to survive this wave. I'm not thinking about my finances. I'm not thinking about my work life, my family life. I'm not thinking about anything else. That's how we get focus for free. That's how we could use fear as a way to develop focus, and we don't have to pay for it. So again, it's important to do this in the right order. You don't really want to jump to fear when you don't quite have the perseverance that you've built up. And I'll kind of review that in just a moment, or the sort of mindset that you really develop from the fear to the grit to control your thoughts. But because your brain is so maniacal about accounting for energy, it can really be important to use this to your advantage. So what we choose to ignore and what we choose to focus on is really can be the difference maker between if you're successful at achieving some goal. And I put people on diet changes and lifestyle changes. I've been doing this for many, many years, and my process has really evolved over time because some people get it and they can make changes right away, but the majority of people, it takes time. And if I actually start to introduce them to these sort of grit skills, to this kind of skills that you can build up over time, if I help them to first kind of build their grit to persevere, we oftentimes will do that with physical perseverance. If they go for a walk, normally it's 20-minute walk, we might say a 25-minute walk, or you do it at a little bit faster pace, or you find a hill to go up, because you're trying to create the neural network in your brain that when you do something hard, that you have the brain energy and the neural network to meet that challenge. And doing it in a physical way, whether it's weightlifting or exercise or whatever kind of physical activity you like to incorporate, you can make that a little bit more intense, a little longer, a little more difficult. And that's how you can really build up your perseverance. Because it's not that you're trying to get better at climbing a hill, it's that when you do whatever that thing is, that goal that you might have that's going to be kind of challenging in your life, you want to build the kind of the brain, the neural network, the energy in order to achieve that. Same thing can be true of the grit to control your thoughts. We talked about different things like gratitude practice or focusing on a word. And the idea is that you're training your brain to pay attention in what you choose to focus on, and that helps you ignore the things that you're not trying to think about, that you're trying to not think about. And you can use this as a skill. It's kind of like if you go to the gym and you're doing bicep curls, or you're doing chest presses or something like that, you're not really trying to get better at arm curls. You're trying to get better at arm curls so that when you do something in your life that requires some arm strength, boom, you got the strength ready to go. So that's the same thing with these grit skills. You're not trying to really get better at focusing on a candle flame or something, but by focusing on that candle flame and you're ignoring other things that might be entering your brain, you're really, really developing that focus skill. Same thing with fear. When you meet that challenge skills balance, what they say is you want to stretch but not snap. You want to take the challenge should be such that it's requiring all of your focus, and it's tapping into that focus for free. You're not having to use brain energy to kind of distract yourself or to ignore other things that might otherwise be, kind of trying to take real estate in your brain. So this is just another skill in addition to the first two that we talked about, because I think that when 2022 comes around, I think people are going to want to start making some significant changes in their health. I think the COVID era has left people in a pretty unhealthy way. Alcohol sales have really skyrocketed. A lot of people have told me, patients here in my office have told me, my diet hasn't been great, and things just kind of slipped in their health. And it's been kind of a stressful time. And so I think people are going to really want to get their health and lives back. And to the degree to which that we can get our lives back, I'm not sure, but we can certainly get our health back. And these grit skills can be really, really important to make those difficult changes to your life. So hopefully that's helpful. I will keep reading the studies and bringing you the information. Until then, keep it real.